Of Herbert West, who was my friend in college and in afterlife, I can speak only with terror. This terror is not due altogether to the sinister manner of his recent disappearance, but was engendered by the whole nature of his life work, and first gained its acute form more than 17 years ago, when we were in the third year of our course at the Miskatonic University Medical School in Arkham. While he was with me, the wonder and diabolism of his experiments fascinated me utterly, and I was his closest companion. Now that he is gone and the spell is broken, the actual fear is greater. The first horrible incident of our acquaintance, as I have said, happened when we were in the medical school. I was in the third year of my course when I met West, whom had already made himself notorious through his wild theories on the nature of death and the possibility of overcoming it. His theory, which was widely ridiculed by his fellow classmates and professors, stated that the human body is simply a complex organic machine, and that with the proper combination of chemicals injected into the body upon death, the machine could be restarted. In his experiments, he had killed and treated immense numbers of rabbits, guinea pigs, cats, dogs, and monkeys, but all of the results were inadequate. He then realized that he needed to experiment on human subjects, seeing how the serum would differ between the species. It was here that he first came into conflict with the college authorities and was debarred from future experiments by no less a dignitary than the dean himself, the learned and benevolent Dr. Allen Halsey. It was not long after the faculty had interdicted his work that West confided to me his resolution to get fresh human bodies in some manner and continue in secret the experiments he could no longer perform openly. We were thinking about obtaining bodies from either the Christchurch Cemetery or the Potter's Field. We finally decided on the Potter's Field because practically every body in Christchurch was embalmed, a thing of course ruinous to West's researches. I was by this time his active and enthralled assistant, and helped to make all his decisions, such as a suitable place for our loathsome work that was far from any road and in sight of no other house, the deserted Chapman farmhouse, beyond Meadow Hill. There we fitted up on the ground floor an operating room, and a laboratory in the cellar. Gradually, we equipped our location with either materials we purchased in Boston or quietly borrowed from the college, and provided spades for the many burials we should make in the cellar. We followed the local death notices like ghouls, for our specimens demanded particular qualities. What we wanted were corpses interred soon after death and without artificial preservation. Accident victims were our best hope. Not for many weeks did we hear of anything suitable, but in the end, luck favored us. For one day, we heard of an almost ideal case in the Potter's Field. A brawny young workman drowned only the morning before in Sumner's Pond and buried at the town's expense without delay or embalming. That afternoon, we found the new grave and determined to begin work soon after midnight. The process of unearthing was slow and sordid. It might have been gruesomely poetical if we had been artists instead of scientists, and we were glad when the spade struck wood. After we'd retrieved the corpse, we removed all traces of our visits and set out for the old Chapman place beyond Meadow Hill. On an improvised dissecting table in the old farmhouse, we laid the specimen there. Then, West forced a large quantity of his fluid into the body. The waiting was gruesome, but West never faltered. Every now and then he applied the stethoscope to the specimen and bore the negative results philosophically. After about 3/4 of an hour, without the least sign of life, he disappointedly pronounced the solution inadequate, but was determined to make the most of his opportunity and try one change in the formula before disposing of his ghastly prize. So taking the solitary acetylene lamp into the adjacent laboratory, we left our silent guest on the slab in the dark. I had just finished digging a grave for the specimen, while West was busy making a change to the formula. Then, suddenly, and wholly unexpected, the awful event came. To make such sounds, and without a thought of our late employment or its possible discovery, both West and I ran out of the place, overturning tubes, lamps, and retorts, never looking back. We made it all the way back to our homes that night. Then, the day after, 2 articles appeared in the newspaper. The old Chapman place had inexplicably burned to the ground. That we could understand because of the upset lamp. Also, an attempt had been made to disturb a new grave in the potter's field. That we could not understand, for we had patted down the dirt very carefully. And for 17 years after that, West would frequently look over his shoulder and complain of fancied footsteps behind him.